As I film this today, my prayers are with those who are in the path of Hurricane Ian as it bears down on the people of Florida. It's predicted to be a Category 4 storm when it makes landfall, with winds up to 155 miles per hour. A hurricane this strong has the potential of doing massive amounts of damage to the Sunshine State and is expected to continue its path of destruction into the weekend as it moves through the Carolinas. Needless to say, for those of us who live here in the Southeast, hurricanes are nothing new, and some are worse than others. But every time there's a threat, I can't help remember the morning of September 22nd, 1989. I was 15 years old at the time, living in Newton, North Carolina, which is about 5 hours away from the closest beach. So while we had heard about Hurricane Hugo heading towards Charleston, South Carolina, we didn't think much about it. But sure enough, around 6 a.m., Hugo showed up. I remember hearing something knocking on the window outside of my bedroom, but it was still dark, so I couldn't see anything. Even as it got lighter out, the wind and rain still made it impossible to figure out what was making the noise. But eventually it stopped and I went back to sleep. When I woke up an hour later and looked out to see what it had been, I realized that it was a tree that was hitting against my bedroom window, and it stopped because the tree was gone. And that was just the beginning. A few hours later, once the hurricane had passed, we went outside to witness the aftermath. Our white house was made green by shredded leaves plastered to the walls. An old oak tree down the street had fallen down, and our neighbor's front lawn was literally standing up straight in the air. Fences were torn down. The streets were impassable from fallen trees. A massive branch hovered 3 feet above my brother's car, only because it had been caught by a power line. For the most part, our home was in good shape. Others, though, weren't so fortunate. The tree next to my bedroom merely tapped on my window. Many in our community narrowly escaped injury as branches came crashing into their home. In the end, we were without power for a little more than a week. For those in the Charleston, South Carolina area, however, it was months, if not years, before life got back to normal. But do you know what I remember most about that horrible hurricane? It wasn't the fear of the storm or the sadness of dealing with the destruction or even the frustration of not being able to have air conditioning or watch television for 10 days. More than anything, I remember the way everyone came together to help. Folks were more concerned with the needs of others than they were of their own. We had a lot of cleaning up to do, but that took a back seat to those who were in the worst shape. Everyone was outside doing their part to rebuild our entire community, and it was beautiful. If you've ever lived through any kind of natural disaster or awful tragedy, you've probably experienced exactly what I'm talking about. When horrible things happen, more times than not, the best of humanity comes out. For just a little while, we put our politics, our opinions, our disagreements, and our self-centeredness aside and do whatever it takes to care for those most in need. During that time, we are the united people that God wants us to be. So why does there have to be a Category 4 storm to get us to work together? The reality is there's people in our midst dealing with hurricanes in their lives right here, right now. The winds of unemployment, illness, divorce, grief, depression, anxiety, and financial problems have ripped through their homes, leaving devastation and ruin. Friend, these folks need our help. They need us to stop worrying about our own stuff. They need us to put aside our differences and work together. They need us to step up. They need us. So what do you say? Are you willing to put it aside? Are you willing to step up? Are you willing to do some hurricane relief work for the people in your lives? I'm Pastor Stephen Mims, and that's your word for Wednesday. May God bless you. If you're looking for a way that you can help out with those whose lives have been impacted by Hurricane Ian, you can go to the website found in the comments section. It's for Lutheran Disaster Response. 100% of your donation will go to immediately to help those in need.